Thank you for joining this session. The topic I'm going to talk about today is Magento 2 open source. I just realized it's confusing because with the recent rebranding, Magento Community Edition, which used to be called right now Magento Open Source, but also we're speaking about Magento as open source product, and I'm still trying to, do not mix myself with all these terms. But let's go. So my name is Max. I'm director of community engineering team, which started early this year as a new, I would say, direction of Magento. And talking about open source, first I want to talk and get known, is it Magento really open source? And the one who worked with Magento, I mean actually Magento 1 and Magento 2 open source, I say for sure, but when we try to that definition of what is open source product exists, and if you go into Wikipedia as the first place everyone trying to look, it's saying like pretty simple stuff. There is a product, software product, no surprise, should have a source code which I would say provide license by copywriter, giving you rights to use it, share, change, do whatever you want. And if you go to GitHub, right, and it's like the biggest difference right now between Magento 1 and Magento 2, you have the place where you can look. If you remember, Magento 1 was just zip file, we need downloads, there is not much reference. But if you go into GitHub and open license text zip files, you're going to see it's OSL version 3, which basically gives you rights, as mentioned, commercial use, distribution, etc. And it's decline any liability, any guarantee, and also you cannot reuse our branding in your purpose. So basically, it's open source, right? It's easy. But the interesting part of the computation, which always people misinterpret, which saying can or made open source software may be developed in collaborative public. And that's something interesting, right? That's something we're trying to dig in, and that's what we're trying to dig in. Is it possible? Can Magento be developed in collaborative manner? So again, one step back about Magento 1. I don't say you couldn't do it, but without any public repository, even you wanted to contribute some code with benchmarks mentioned in history, you need signed hard copy of paper, fax it to us, provide like CLA saying everything what we took from you, you give rights to own. So it was even not friendly for people who even trying to do, and it was very ridiculous at some point. But Magento 2 and how it's come up, how open source way start moving forward. First stage was November 2011. That's where the first public commit in GitHub appeared. So that's first time when community and developers start see some progress of Magento 2. So there was some, I would say some problems with this concept. First of all commits was happened weekly, or bi-weekly, sorry, and all of them was squashed. So basically, you had a bunch of code merged with some documentation without any ability to track what and why it had been done. Despite the fact all issues in pull requests could be created, nobody even take a look at it. Nobody processed those time. The second stage happens in December 2014. That's what we call developers beta. The version was 0.42. 42 because it's ultimate answer on all questions in the universe, and we're trying to get first our big step to community. So we had 2 meetings. One was held in Austin, Texas. We asked people from US, North America, and Australia came, and we shared first code. We shared our ideas, what we have done, and we're trying to get feedback. Second one was in Europe because Europe is a huge and biggest community for us. It was in Berlin. Actually, it was in Potsdam. It was close to office. We was in a small hotel, and it was a room where also gathered people from Europe, and it was like most active members of time, and we shared the code. So it was like first, and I would say, big step for Magento saying like, yeah, we cannot develop product which without getting feedback. We got feedback. We did a lot of changes. After we did again. So we keep doing changes, but feedback is very crucial, and we started listening to people. We changed our process and we started to do transparent commit. So basically we didn't squash anymore. Difference what happens if before we had 2 different repositories, one internal, another external, right now we decided to do it and make it one single repository. So everything what happened in public, it was basically our development repo. One caveat was you have seen and still seeing this match2 tickets, which nobody understands what it is. You can have reference, but it's basically internal kitchen. We start to open everyone. We processed first public pull request and merged it, which was significant. I think Ben Marks was second, like it was typo. It's ridiculous, but he was proud to make first pull request. And we started addressing issues, so we start communicating through issues GitHub, which is pretty good step, but there was downsides again. As soon as we start we do it like on a satellite. We didn't dedicate a lot of resources, and I would say we miscount how much community can give us feedback. So number of issues start growing, number of requests start growing, and we didn't have much time to process it. So as it became very soon obsolete, so submitter need to resubmit again and again to keep it up to date, which is also bad feedback from our side, right? Issues number growing, so everything that happens like start overwhelming us, and that's we realized we couldn't go this way anymore. And there was step number 3, which launched this year, 1st of February. We organized and made community engineering team. So I was, before this date, I was director of Magento development, so I work with my teams. And right now I said, right now I need to go to work with community, leave Magento to internal development to other teams, and start working with 1,000 people across the world trying to change this approach. And it started paying our dividends. So, I mean, community started being more active. We started more processing pull requests, and team was small from very first. So it was me and Eugene, Alexei, Igor, and other Eugen. So, but we soon realized in a couple of months we need more people because the volume of pull requests, volume of feedback, issues, everything is so big, we cannot handle only 4 of us. So we added 2 more guys to our team, Vladimir and Valery, and started working on different projects. But also, I think it most recently was announced, and starting 1st of October, we're going to have 8th member of our team. It's David Manners. He's going to join community engineering, going to work with us to process and engage community and start driving this. So we put simple goals which we evolve, but first and foremost goal is we need to make ease of contribution. We really need to change the approach when we have such communities. They're trying too hard, to help improve Magento, work Magento, but we need to make sure it's easy for everyone. So if you want to contribute, you want to get a pull request, or you can do contribution different way, it should be very easy to you. You just step in and do it. And we start, introduce new tools, new labels, somehow to provide, more automated, reviews. So give ability to contributor do their work without asking much questions and interacting. So we want you interact with us if you're a contributor. And biggest goal, which over time, going, it's enable community to develop Magento too. So we're trying to change concept about Magento when there is a product, Magento Inc. developing it, and we just users. We want to tell you how Magento 2 can be developed by all of community. Community can decide future of it. And I'm going to talk more about this future, but as I said, it started paying dividends. So there is curve, it was outstanding pull request, and started going significantly down. It starts on 1st of February. But also there is red line, which show number of created pull requests per month. And you see as soon as we start processing, more developers start being interested to create pull requests. And this number of pull requests growing and growing and growing. But let's talk about community. It's a big, right? We have some fancy numbers, but what is community defined? Who community member? And there is different, and a lot of actually ways to say I'm community member. But this slides you saw from my presentation. We count 255,000 people who, by different ways, involved with Magento. It's forum members registered, but coverage around the world. We have different events, so it's community really huge and really big. And just even use part of this community power, we can make Magento 2.344. I mean, all features which idea coming from community can go easily. Using all these brains, all these smart people around the world. But yeah, who's community member? You can be you can use Magento, right? You can like Magento, you can dislike Magento, but somehow provide this feedback, right? You can advocate for something, enable others to use Magento, contribute to improve Magento, and different. Why so for me, like, and just because I'm an engineer, like, contribute to Magento is something important part. The community member not just be, a side of it, but be part of all Magento community development and all initiatives. It's pretty exciting stuff. There is a quote from Open Source Way, which I personally think, describe, power of any community. The community that contributes to improve something is the one who defines something for next generations, user advocates, and enablers. So basically, whatever you're doing right now, if you contribute to a product, you define a future, how is this product, how is this software, how is this community going to drive in the future. So you're part of the building something big. And having, like, as I said, 1,000 minds can help to build something huge, something big, something bright, and something everyone's going to be excited. Because, to be honest, in any point, if you develop a merchant, you make money out of it. I mean, nobody do it for free anyway. But if you make it and there is some issues, troubles, or whatever you think missing in it, you can do it and and improve this product, which is going to help you to make more and more benefits out of it in the future. But what about contribution itself? What it means, right? Pull request is definitely like company person does the good code via pull request, which is developer ways to see, right? But it's not limited with it. You can do bug report. If you find something working wrong and you, for example, not have skills or time to even develop, even just reporting and say there is steps, this is how it works, there is problem. Somebody else can benefit and say, oh, I have the same problem. And somebody gonna step in and say, oh, actually I have fixed for this problem and share it. So we're gonna resolve the problem. So just saying them in words is gonna help to contribute into Magento. Answering questions on forums, documentation, tutorials, meetups, events. Anytime you spend in the project, that's something to find you as a contributor. But as I said, I'm a developer, I came from development, community engineering, survival development, and everything on GitHub. But there is some statistics for this year. And it's nice, it's cool, and it's much better than last year, but there is huge room to grow. So this year, since 1st of January, we have about more than 300 people contributed into GitHub, open source GitHub, creating pull requests. Total they created, actually after yesterday contribution day, I think this number is going to be bigger, but statistic of last week is about 750 pull requests. So think about the amount of code, and I'm going to tell you, internal Magento will need much more people, developers, to produce the same results. So community can do it much easier, much faster, and much more in advanced ways than Magento company itself. But the point is contribution not going in only one way, right? Actually, there is some statistic, and the numbers is sometimes I think crazy. So these people, top contributors of 2017, take a look and created pull request number. So it's people basically, and I want you to remember these names and say kudos if you know these guys. The people who spend own time, own efforts to improve Magento, fix so you can use it in a way when you don't have troubles. And it's pretty exciting. And I just going to compare you last year just to explain how open source, how community evolves. This number is from last year. So it's top contributors 2016. So biggest number it was by Dan McCarthy, I believe, 21, but you see, I'm gonna slide back. You see 10 times more pull requests coming in. And we expect them, and actually it's not expecting, but we see it's going new. And we want all developers to be able, to participate in it. That's what community engineering is doing. But also, it's not fair to say it's fully open source product if you do contribution, you do development in Magento, and when Magento decide, are we going to accept the pull request or not, right? Because we want community to decide it, and that's where we have a great team of maintainers. The people who was most active, during few years, provide feedback, willing to share, have good personality. We choose people to be owners of the code, so they became maintainers. And it's the same like GitHub maintainers. They have rights to merge, accept, reject pull requests. And they do it, again, with their free time. So we have 9 of those. Fabian Schmeger, Anna Wokol, David Alger, Vlad Veselov, Christoph, aka Fuman, Matthias is Miguel, Vinay Kopp, and we have David Manners, who basically became a part of the team. And definitely like community join team, also part of the Matthias group. So in this sense, these people, they're basically driving Magento. So if you contributor or other contributor is willing to change, they're part of community. These guys are part of community and they review and accept and merge pull requests. So we're building a completely independent group of community when they do decision, what do we develop, what's going to be delivered, and how we're going to be involved in Magento. And by the way, everyone who developed ability willing to contribute, they can do. And at some point, if you're most active within time, you became part of this group. Became a maintainer as the one who made, more, I would say, authority to decide in direction of Magento. But it's not limited by personality. There is companies, that's our partners. So we launch program, contribution program partner. And this company is like working with, and this actually, let me step back. The reason if you're part of the big company or partners for companies, why you gonna benefit, why company gonna benefit to develop and create pull requests. Again, all these companies, it's not limited, there is more companies, it's just what fit on the screen, agreed to participate in contribution programs. So they basically give ability to developers within the group to create pull requests. We count this pull requests and we reward the partners, to help them. But the biggest difference, if you're working with a merchant and you're a developer, and you're struggling figuring some issue, right? And it's most likely it's a core, right? You have long paths. You can submit ticket, enterprise, where it's going to be processed, review. But you have this knowledge, ultimate knowledge is what's wrong with this. You most likely already figure out where is the problem, and you understand it's the core part of the problem. So that's where you can, go directly to the community engineering team, start the development, create pull request. We're going to merge it. It's going to be patch ready, so your client will not have this problem. So you're going to be satisfied client, which is going to, keep working business and pay you money. You're going to have no problem to do some workaround or patches. You're going to keep, Magento, keep all this and clean up in the core versus trying to update themselves. And it's going to be easy for you to support it in the future. So again, there is companies that keep joining to us in this particular contribution program. So, but let's go back. So if I'm a developer, how I can contribute? Like I have knowledge, I know something about Magento, I have experience, what I can do. So first and foremost, like we're saying, like help us to resolve, and all of us to resolve the issues. When we go into Magento GitHub, there is 2,000 something issues. What we see statistics for last year, 60% of this is invalid. It's not real issues. It's some misbehavior or people didn't, set up it's wrong. So, and right now, like we have pretty good amount of people from the community just stepping up, and maintainers also, our teams, just trying to respond and say, oh, it's not a real bug, or say, oh, it's confirmed, we're going to fix. So you can just step in and help. If you see some problems and you face it, step in discussion, confirm it is this, or maybe you have fixed, or maybe you're going to check, say, oh, it works and there is something. So, right, let's try to clean up our GitHub all together. And as I say, if you found bug and you know how to fix, create pull requests. It's the best contribution you can do. You just can, the product you're working with, 1,000 or 100,000 different people working with, you're gonna help to get rid from some, misbehaviors of the product. In a way, when you don't invest much, but think about 1,000 people gonna appreciate you about having it. You can contribute in patch releases, that's another difference. So we open this development branch for 2.1, 2.0. So most likely we may have fixed, or somebody already fixed and developed, but you think this bug, annoying for your customer. You can create backport to create, fix new bug if it exists in patch release. And we're going to release the next patch stuff. You're going to upgrade client, and he doesn't have this problem. So again, you don't need to do and update the client each time and fix this problem again and again and again. But you can do innovation, like one of the example, like we just submitted last week, and it's pretty cool because the one-click checkout, which Amazon hold patent for many years, last week the patent expired. And first day when it expired, Creativity submitted pull request about one-click checkout in Magento, combine it with, I believe, Braintree integration payment, which awesome, right? We're like, wow. We didn't even expect it to go, and they have already model working with tests, so we process it. So if you have some ideas in innovation, feel free to submit it. But if you feel more challenged and you're fixing bugs to do, but you want to participate in something huge, big, and change entire core behavior out of Magento. So we have multi-inventory project, multi-source inventory, MSI. It's basically a project which for a long time, our partners, developers, merchants, asking Magento to have capabilities to manage different sources, multi-warehouses if you wish. We have MOM solution like Magento Order Management, which provide advanced technology, but we also provide something community-driven in open source model, which allow you use the same abilities. And we come up, okay, if community wants, let's develop it together with community. And we have like separate project with technical vision. We have roadmap with splitted stories, if you wish, with different like t-shirt sizes, where we're going through one by one, and the community members join, develop together. We have dashboard with tasks which going. So it's basically full agile development, and it's distributed team. It's community again, contribution happening over again and again. We have every Friday demo, and everyone feel free to join it and just listen and understand what happened. We record it, we submit it. So we made a project which really open source and driven with limited scope, because Magento is huge itself. This one big part of it, but we do development all together, right? Using best practices from Linux community, from Drupal community. And there's two kudos to these guys. They are most active for the last few weeks or even months. Alessandro from Pitbull, Lars. So they did a lot of contribution, and one of the particulars they created, they wrote a few blogs, and one of them is from Alessandro, and there is a link behind. But I like how he said, and he's basically his words, I just quoted what he said. Being part of community means giving back. And I think it's everyone from community, everyone developer who treated himself part of community should take it in account. You may use product, but if you're going to give back, you're going to be much stronger in it. You're going to recognize it by everyone. You're going to be, the one who people are going to count to. And having like a lot of pull requests, most likely people are going to follow you and listen to you, and you're going to learn a lot, and they're going to learn from you. But there is also a few bullets he put in about working in an MSI project. He kind of finally can touch the core, right? We change the core, and he was very excited about this. We're working with distributed agile teams and discuss all internal stuff, how API, how our most complex technology inside works with the core architects about it. Pair programming. That's pretty cool when you have distributed PL. And what I like in pair programming, if you do development with somebody you don't know. Because if you work in an office with your buddy, you know him, you know exactly how. But with somebody new across the world, I don't know, like Alessandro in Italy, you have online chat and you're talking about development, somebody shares a screen. It's awesome experience because you learn a ton from this person how to do, and also this person learn from you, and you increase and upscale your skills in it. Learning a lot, that's much more important, because building such complex and changing architecture of our stock inventory and products, you learn a lot in terms of technology. And basically you define future of technology, as mentioned in open source, where you literally do something everyone going to use soon and in the future. So, and quick recap where you can start from. And first of all, we have our Slack channel. That's easy way. So if you're doubting what to do, just join, send email requests for this stuff. We have already like 350 developers there. We communicate, ask questions. So send email requests if you're interested, and ask in general, like, guys, I want to contribute, or I have idea where I do. So we're gonna guide them. And there's tons of people there who are gonna help and share it. Join contribution days, and it's pretty fun stuff. That's where we encourage people to do pair programming. We learn, and there's core architects working around together. So share all feedback if you have questions, so you can upskill, up-level your skills. You're doing contribution by the end of the day, so you gather a group of developers, gather together, having fun, do development, and do something helpful and useful for 1,000 people who use Magento. Like a contribution pull request, which we process and maintainers process later. Yeah, be part of community definitely. So there is more. We already held a lot of contribution days. There is more in September. So yesterday was here in Krakow, but it's going to be in Belgium. It's going to Magento in New York, Romania, Spain. So more and more with Magento different events, and hackathon groups just contacting me. Said, Max, can we do contribution day? Because when you have hackathon, and as a result, you did something valuable for everyone. It's awesome. It's just exciting, and definitely having beer and everything else. with smart people, pretty cool. There is picture from yesterday, so Bolt, hosted us in the office. It was really nice. The new contribution days, like 40 people came out. And right, it's actually a discussion about MSI because this group of people decided to join. So feel free to join anytime. And you don't need to be on contribution day if you can travel. You just using the Slack channel we created for every contribution day. You can jump and say, guys, I want to participate with you. Maybe you're at home or maybe you're traveling, but you're willing to be part of it. Feel free to do it. And yes, I think that's it. Let's make Magento better together. I think Power Community is much, we have a lot of more investigators Power Community. So community can do much more than Magento company itself, right? And you're able right now with all channels to really do impact of product and the future of this product. Yes, thanks. That's my Twitter, my email, if you have questions. And we have like 2 minutes for question, if any. Questions? One second here. No? Okay, thank you.